You're watching Two Button Crew.
Your daily Nintendo dose of fandom.
I'm Scott.
And I'm Simeon.
Time to ponder one of the many Nintendo mysteries of life.
Yes. Are stories important
to Nintendo? Many Nintendo fans find themselves asking this.
Yeah.
When they see a cutscene that they feel like they've seen before from a previous game. Or
Mario.
There's no voice acting, or there's no story whatsoever. So we're here to talk about this. With Nintendo, we know that game design starts with a mechanic.
Yep.
One of the developers says, hey, this new controller that we have, this new hardware can be used in this fun way with this generic polygon placeholder character. And they say, make a game off of it. Levels are built around it. A character is later inserted into it, kind of just like a mascot. You know?
Yeah. That's really sad.
I think that is probably why their gameplay is so fun.
Yeah.
Because I think some Xbox or PlayStation games are probably made by saying, all right, this is going to be a gritty, realistic wartime shooting game.
Yeah.
Or this is going to have a big burly Norse god.
Yeah.
You know?
Some guy with a beard that's scruffy and edgy.
Right.
And I think that's the thing, is Nintendo is usually focused on something else. I don't think that their focus is on the story or the characters. And like you said, they just kind of paste them in. They are really good at the controls and level design, visuals and world building. The worlds that they create are really expressive, how they populate their levels.
Yeah.
And the gimmicks and stuff, they focus on that, but they don't really think about story that much. I mean, they don't build from that point up.
I agree. And what that results in is repetitive stories. We've heard the same one over and over again with Mario.
Yep.
Peach gets kidnapped. Bowser's the bad guy. Lots of times there's a cake involved. With Metroid, I just want to say that although, it is a repetitive story. I was going to qualify that, but I don't think I need to. She fights Ridley over and over again. The Metroid races dwindle down to one that populates a planet, and she has to destroy them all over again. Ridley dies and gets reincarnated and stuff, and there's an actual timeline in the order that the Metroid games go in, and it's so hard for me to believe that Samus as a person would have these such similar experiences over and over again. Lose her armor and weapons so many times and have it be a believable continuity.
Yeah.
Zelda is easier to accept that because I'll get to that in a little bit. I think their timeline approach actually makes some more sense as far as why things might happen over and over again. But another example is Starfox. This is the most frustrating one.
Yeah.
Because they're literally making Starfox for the SNES over and over again while the game takes itself seriously. They voice act it. They try to get us to have emotional responses to Fox's relationship with his dad. And we've heard it so many times. Miyamoto told us Star Fox Zero's story would be better, that the portals would play an important role.
Not so much, huh?
No.
And I thought of the same examples. The Mario games, all of them are the same. New Super Mario Bros. Wii, that was, when I saw that at the beginning, I was like, that is literally the most generic. That's the laziest story writing I've ever heard, because they didn't care about it. It wasn't that it was a bad game, it's that they didn't care about the story.
New Super Mario Bros. Wii.
Yeah.
Which came right after Galaxy.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
Which was awesome. The Star Fox games, like you said, many of the Legend of Zelda games, I mean, sometimes they're different, and I have some examples of when they're different, but it's like the princess is captured, you have to go and save the princess from Ganon.
I actually... it's not a compelling story all the time when it's the same rough premise. But at least I don't have the issue that I do with Metroid, where I can't believe that Samus actually experiences this in a repetitious cycle. With Zelda, there's a timeline that branches. We know that the hero gets reincarnated, and the similar stuff happens, and that to me is believable. That's a storyline I can get behind. And I like how the universe lends itself to theories and stuff. You don't see a lot of like Mario and Starfox theories because those storylines are just like nonsensical and big messes. Care. But to me, Zelda works. But in any case, I think Nintendo occasionally does a good job, and you can find it most of the time in the RPGs. Yeah. Like Mario and Luigi RPGs, most Paper Mario ones, they have really good writing and compelling characters. The characters have arcs. The writing that's done by the Treehouse is culturally aware, so the game kind of even makes fun of itself. Like Bowser might say, "What? I'm not the one capturing Peach this time," or something. You know, funny things that reference the fact that we have heard the same story over and over again. The RPGs are almost always different, with a different main big villain at the end and everything like that, different motivations. So,
and you mentioned Super Mario Galaxy, which was very different, and I think that Super Mario Galaxy 2 played into that too, because Super Mario Galaxy, like, the first thing you think about isn't the story, and then when you think about the story, first you think about Rosalina, and then you think about how they fit together, Mario Galaxy and Mario Galaxy 2, with the end of Super Mario Galaxy, which is Rosalina saying that basically there are different realities, and that Mario Galaxy 2, when you think about it, is really just a retelling of Super Mario Galaxy in a different timeline. And that's interesting. They can do stories well. Like, that's very simple. Like, that wasn't huge throughout the game. You had to learn this and then this and this. No, very simple, very elegant, still very good.
In Galaxy 2, wasn't it something where you could like go and read and see the stories, or just completely bypass them if you wanted to? I thought I remember there being like a library.
Galaxy 2, I've spent so long since I played. Galaxy 2, I didn't remember as well as Galaxy 1.
Well, maybe you and I will have to revisit that one.
Indeed.
But I think it is safe to say that overall, story is not very important to Nintendo. It's probably one of their afterthoughts. I mean, we know they spend a lot of time on the gameplay, the graphics, the menus, the polish, the music. They do a good job on the music.
Music is fantastic.
Story is probably the last, or what they put the least effort into. So I think my question is, should story be more important to them? If I compare like Nintendo to like, you know, movies have to kind of have it all. They have to have music, humor, storyline, character development, graphics, if we're talking like animation, special effects if we're not, you know, all that stuff. And is Nintendo getting a pass on this, or was it better just back in the day when it was more arcadey, like on the NES, when you just popped in a game, got right into level 1, and started racking up your score? Do we need stories in video games?
I think that's the question, and even further than that, do fans want stories? Because you don't, like, when Super Mario Galaxy 2 came out, which I thought was an okay game, everyone was like, Super Mario Galaxy 2 is the best Mario game. It's one of the best games ever made. And I'm thinking, like, well, first of all, I didn't agree with them, but then the more I think about it, I'm like, that story is so bare bones and nothing
compared to Galaxy.
Yeah, nothing compared to Galaxy. I mean, like I said, the two play into each other quite well, but the games come out and they're huge and everybody loves them. Smash Bros. 4 has no story. Smash Bros. Brawl had a story, and that one wasn't even as big and people didn't like it as much.
Yeah.
Do fans want the story? And I don't think... I mean, obviously they do. They want to say, yeah, I want a good story. But when it comes down to it, is that what we really want from Nintendo? I really don't know.
I think there's a place. I think it's a good thing that Tetris games and stuff like that don't have stories. I think, like, if a Wii Sports come out, then we don't need a story for that. But I think Nintendo needs to either drop the stories from the games, or do them well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we can keep this up with Starfox, with like...
Or Zelda.
Yeah.
Or Metroid. The next game in the Metroid franchise had better have a really good story, because they left on a really, really good spot in Fusion.
You're talking about Federation Force, which comes out on August 19th?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about an actual game where you play as Samus.
Oh, an actual game.
An actual game. No, I'm looking forward to Federation Force, but what I'm talking about is the next main game in the series had better build onto that story. And if it's just the same stuff, you know, Samus loses all of her equipment the same way.
And she's surprised when she sees Ridley.
A Metroid. Right. Yeah.
Either one.
It's not going to work. It needs to be different. And I think you're right. I think that for the games that are going to focus on stories, they need to be better.
There are our thoughts.
Those are our thoughts.
Good one.
Good one indeed.
Is story important to you guys?
Well, they're going to have to answer in the comments. Comment below, are stories important to you? And Scott, I like to go on record now. So right after this, we'll make a note of it. I'd like to do... Have we done top 10 stories in Nintendo games?
Nope.
We haven't. We need to do that. I just came up with that idea in my brain.
Wow.
What an original thought.
If you guys come up with ideas you're like, that'd be a cool 2-Button Crew show, we have a spot for that. It's called 2buttoncrew.com/contact. And you just say, hey, I got an episode idea.
Yeah.
Thanks for contributing to the show, and thanks for being part of the crew. We'll see you next time.
Signing out.